discussion. This is grade 12, chapter 1, which try to discuss about states and peoples of the southern Ethiopian in the 19th century. So, in this topic, we'll try to see the states and also peoples who lived in these states. So, among the states which found on the southern parts of Ethiopia, the first discussion will be about deomotic states. So what does it mean by when we say deomotic states? Deomotic states were states which is formed by the peoples who lived around the Omo River basin. So we call it deomotic states because of the people who lived in the because the people lived around the Omo River basin territory and they occupied or captured that area. So there are around 30 different languages are classified under the Omotic family. As you all know, among from the four super language families which are found in Africa. One of the well-known super language family were Afro-Asiatic. And from Afro-Asiatic, as you all know, there are three, right? The Cushitic, the Semitic, as well as the Omotic. So for the sake of our discussion, we focused on the Omotic families. So under the Omotic family, we can find the languages like Kafa, Walaita, Dauro, Bench, Dorze, Gamo, Gofa, Koira, Yem, Shaka, and Maji. All these are belong to the Omotic family. So let us discuss the states which found on this area, on the Omo River Basin area. So the first one is the Kingdom of Kava. It is found south of the Gojab River geographically, and the land is called Kava, and we call them the people Kaficho. So its origin can be traced as far back as the 14th century. So there were two dynasties which were very important in the history of the Kingdom of Kava. These were the Kingdom of Mato and also Minjo. Before 1390, Kafa was ruled by the Mato dynasty, but the first kingdom of the Minjo dynasty was Minjilo. So between 1821 to 1897, there were five permanent kings who successively ruled Kafa. The first one is Gahini Chochi, and the third one is Gachi Sharochi, and also the last king of Kafa was Tatogaki Saracho, as well. So, for the sake of administration, the administration system of the kingdom was divided into 12 and later into 18 provinces. They divided the area into such kind of numbers for the suitable administration system. So the Kafa kings held a royal title called Tato, just like any other kingdoms. They have a title. So the title of the Kafa kings used the name of Tato. So the Tato was assisted by a state councillor called Mikiricho. Mikiricho, they are eight in number, but only with one non-permanent member. Mostly they were seven, but there is also one which is non-permanent in the councillor of Mikricho. They were strong and they also support or assist the king as well as the state. So the land in the kingdom was considered as the property of the king. This is the actual history of this period, just like other states. So the kingdom of Kafa was known to have an efficient system of frontier defense. This is one of the unique point when we came to the kingdom of Kafa. They were strong in the defense system or in the keeping their territory from the enemies or from the attack of the Christian kingdom as well as the Muslim sultanates. So its economy was based on agriculture and also supplemented or supported by trade. So Taxes were collected by an assigned collectors called Tate Kisho, which meaning the hand of the king. Because as you all know, taxes or revenues are one of the backbone for the state. So the one who collect these taxes must be uh, must be a real person for the king. So that's why we call it the hand of the king. So Bonga was the center of the kingdom. Bonga was one of the starting point of the long distance trade. We can see on the coming discussion. So Bonga was the center of Kafan kingdom. So Kafa was finally incorporated into the Ethiopian Empire in 1897, in 1870, in 1819, in 1897 after a stiff resistance was Menelik. So the last king of Kafa, Tatogaki Serrecho, tried to stop the attack of the Christian kingdom or the Menelik's empire building, but finally he became unable and he was incorporated, Kafa was incorporated into the Ethiopian empire. So this is all about Kafa. The second kingdom was the kingdom of Yem. The kingdom of Yem occupied geographically the western bank of the Gibe River, and it existed as the political entity since the 14th century. When we say existed as a political entity, as you all know, most of the history of southern Ethiopia uh, was not studied as well. So we do have uh, uh, a shortage of sources. So that's why we say existed as a political entity since the 14th century. So the kingdom of Yem was ruled by a dynasty called the Moa, and the kings of Yem adopted a title called Ano. Then the administration of the kingdom was hierarchically organized. So below the king, there was a council of officials known as Astesor. The king was on the up of the pyramid. So after the king, there were the Astesors, the council. Then the Astesor was chaired by an official who had a title called Waso. Then the kingdom was divided into provinces and sub-provinces for the uh, facilitate or accelerate the system of the administration. So the provinces were ruled by Irasho or Rasho and sub-provinces by Ganna. Then their economy was based on agriculture, trade as an auxiliary or support of the agriculture. Mostly the land of the southern were suitable for agriculture, so they were mostly engaged on agriculture and they produced several kinds of agricultural commodities. So finally, they were conquered by the forces of Menelik in 1894. So this is a kingdom of Yem. Then thirdly, we will see the kingdom of Walaita, one of the strong uh, kingdom or state in the Omotic states. So the kingdom of Walaita had a strong connection with the medieval state of Damot. The founder of this kingdom was Motalami. This is how it connects with Damot. You know Motalami. So Motalami founded a dynasty called Walaita Mala. The dynasty which ruled Walaita was called Walaita Mala around the beginning of the 14th century. In the 15th century, the Walaita dynasty was ousted from power and replaced by a rival dynasty. Walaita Mala was replaced by a dynasty called Tigray that ruled the kingdom until the end of the 19th century. So the kings used a royal title called Kao, and the Koga were the privileged warrior class of the Walaita kingdom. So its economy was based on agriculture, and the last king of the rule independent was Kaotona, finally conquered by Menelik II in 1894 after a stiff resistance with Kaotona. So this is episode 1. Thank you for now.